Good day, fellow citizen of the verse, and welcome to Z2E Gaming. Today I want to do a brief review of the new ships which were announced at CitizenCon this year, focusing on the ships that had not been previously announced. These ships are due to come out in the short future, but with everything CIG does, only time will tell. Without further ado, let's get into it. First up, let me introduce to you the Constructiongrav Cart. This vehicle is part of a series of vehicles that will be launching with base building early next year, and is the only one so far to be able to survey and claim the land in addition to building structures. It's a smaller vehicle, meant to fit in as many ships as possible, and comes in a single variant for the time being. The Grav Cart contains a single survey drone and a single small-size construction drone capable of building small structures like your initial habitat building. It's worth noting that unlike the other construction vehicles, the drone will grab materials from nearby crates that do not need to be loaded into the vehicle. Up next, we have the Argo CSV. This little vehicle comes in two variants and is primarily centered around base building, with one of the variants containing drones capable of building and the other featuring a small cargo bed, sort of like a space truck. Both come with a size 0 shield, which is intended primarily to shelter the user from the environmental elements, with the cargo variant releasing this past weekend. I'm particularly interested in trying the cargo variant for running bunkers, as the internal storage is sizable enough to hold my armor while I loot bodies, and the capability to hold just enough cargo containers to keep me busy for a play session. Sadly, with the servers in the state they are, I have not had a chance to give this a try, but let me know in the comments if you have and what you thought about it. It's one of the few vehicles I really appreciate the Argo orange on, and I think this will make a worthy replacement for my not-so-useful mole. The fabrication version of the CSV comes with two medium-sized construction drones and is designed to fit in most multi-crew vehicles that have a small cargo bay and up. The FM holds 4 SCU of cargo, which is absorbed to feed the drones, and is designed to be fed by the SM version. The cargo variant of the CSV is very similar to the FM version, except it can hold 4 SCU of standard-sized cargo boxes and includes an internal storage capable of holding at least a suit of armor. Next up, we have one of the most anticipated ships of the weekend, the MISC Starlancer. The Starlancer will eventually come in 3 different variants and be released in stages, with 2 of the variants being released as part of IEE, and the third variant, the construction variant of the ship, being released alongside of base building in the new year. As you can see, the MISC Starlancer has a very familiar style to the Freelancer, with the telltale mailbox-style cockpit and a bit more girth than its smaller sibling. Personally, I both love and hate what I've seen about this ship, with some of the internal design decisions in the variants being very questionable, such as the massive living quarters on the Max variant and the hangar bay on the TAC version only being capable of handling Fury size of ships. I do, however, love the drop-down cargo bays in the Max alongside the typical ramp style, which will offer great versatility in smaller spaces. The BLD version of the Starlancer is the variant I'm the most excited for, as it has 4 large-sized drones and is the only ship so far announced with large drones. I think a lot of it will depend on how the base building mechanic works, but it may very well be a ship I add to my fleet to get things started until I can build a construction center if such a thing exists. I am, however, very excited to play Virtual Pool in the Starlancer, as it's such a tease in the game right now. Diving into the specs, first we have the BLD version, which is surprisingly well equipped in my opinion. With 2 size 4 guns and 16 size 3 missiles being controlled by the pilot, and 2 more double size 4 remote turrets controlled by another crew member, the BLD version will not be a small force, considering its main focus has nothing to do with combat. The 128 SCU of cargo is designed primarily to feed the drones, but I'm sure it could be used for smaller cargo runs as well if needed. Next up is the TAC, which I'm sure is meant to be short for the attack variant. It comes equipped with 2 size 4 linked turrets controlled by the pilot, along with 2 remote dual size 4 turrets and 2 manned dual size 5 turrets. Add in the medical beds, jump seats, and extra small hangar, and this is quite the ship on the battlefield. Finally, we have the Starlancer Max. The Max is expected to launch alongside the TAC version at IEE later this year, and I'm excited to walk through both to compare. The Max fills a hole in the mid-sized cargo lineup, carrying up to 224 SCU across the lower cargo platform and the rear ramp area. With all that cargo, the Max also includes 6 extra VTOL thrusters compared to the other variants and is actually available for pre-sale right now. Finally, in our lineup of ships that were announced at CitizenCon this year, we have the Pioneer. Now, the Pioneer has been around for a while, in concept anyway, but has undergone a complete overhaul as the game has progressed, so I'm counting it as a new announcement anyway. The Pioneer is going to be the only ship currently announced to contain extra-large drones, 4 of them at that, which will be capable of constructing anything in the known universe, including the initial components required for space stations, which are intended to be used by larger organizations. It can carry 1,000 SCU of cargo and has almost everything you could ever want out of a ship, including the ability to craft other ships and vehicles, and has ground extractors built into its landing gear. I may actually have to consider dropping a ridiculous amount of money for this bad boy when the time comes. Although a gray box walkthrough was available for the ship, the final specs have not yet been released, but I'm definitely excited to hear more about this ship over the next year. The one thing that stood out as being very unique about this ship was the approach to the habs, as each hab area seems to be almost like a self-contained cargo area, with a door that fully opens up to the hallway outside. Moving through the gray box walkthrough provided, we get a glimpse into the cargo loading areas, as well as the drone control area, which shows all 4 drones being controlled from a single console. This is an interesting concept as it kind of implies that base building will largely be a hands-off process that does not require a substantial amount of manual input after the initial instructions given to the drones and the constant feeding of supplies that will be needed. Finally, we end off the gray box walkthrough with a demonstration of how crafting will work, and we're shown a blast shield raising over a newly created tank. The only thing this ship doesn't seem to have is a med bay, surprisingly, but I guess you could always craft yourself a NERSA. In what seems to be tradition from last year, CitizenCon also reviewed some silhouettes of ships yet to be announced but are expected to be arriving over the next year. I'll save the speculation for another day, but figured I'd mention that I don't think any of the ships shown here are ones covered earlier in the video, as it seems oddly strange not to simply highlight those in full detail. I just wanted to end off the video reminding everyone that all of the ships we've seen today will be available for purchase in the verse for virtual money, typically a patch or 2 after their release, so don't feel the need to run out and spend real money on anything you've seen today. But if you have money to throw around and find yourself to be a bit of a collector of digital things, by all means enjoy. Thank you to everyone who has stuck around until the end of the video. It is greatly appreciated, and just a friendly reminder that if you like what you saw, please like, subscribe, and click the notification bell, as I hear it does wonders for smaller channels like mine.